Good morning or good afternoon, whichever the case may be. My name is Bill Eskew. I am with the Tennessee Job Training and Safety Program. I am the senior instructor, and it's my pleasure to be with you this afternoon or this morning again. And basically what we're going to discuss is we're going to discuss defensive driving skills. And as you can see in this photograph that we're starting out with, that weather certainly, in some cases, does play a major part in some of these accidents that occur. So let's go ahead and we'll get into the program itself. Again, this particular program is a review or discussion of an accident that occurred, and I know that you guys at your utility usually at the conclusion of the program, the instructor will ask for any close calls, near misses, or accidents, and simply, discuss those. And then you guys simply pause the video and, again, take as much time as you folks need to discuss whatever accidents that you guys need to discuss, or close calls. So we'll simply pause now and give you guys an opportunity, or if you haven't had any, then you can simply continue on. So pause the recording now. Thank you. Okay, welcome back. As we start to delve into defensive driving skills, these are some of the discussion points that we are simply going to discuss. We'll talk about defensive driving in general, vehicle safety and maintenance, defensive driving skills, some defensive tips, driving tips, and then we'll talk about extreme weather because, as we pointed out, in some cases this does create or contribute to the vehicular accidents that we have. So three key steps to vehicle safety: inspect, repair, and then of course maintain that vehicle in a very roadworthy manner. Again, with the inspection, and most of you guys that are CDL holders are already familiar with the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, and then these guys are required to do a pre-trip and a post-trip inspection. And again, remember that these inspections must be kept for 90 days or 3 months, so don't throw those away. Again, can be very, very important documentation, so keep that in mind. After 90 days, you may want to discard those. So the driver vehicle inspection report, we're just going to discuss some general points that we need to look at: service brakes and all connections, parking brake, the steering mechanism, the emergency equipment, tires and horn, lighting devices, reflectors, wipers, rear vision mirrors, any coupling devices, and then any emergency equipment. And when I speak about emergency equipment, normally we would be talking about, again, one of the requirements of the Federal Motor Carrier, the reflective triangles and flares would be one of those that we need to focus on there. So the vehicle inspection form contains a complete checklist of all items that need to be checked, and we said that we want to keep those for 3 months. So again, be aware of that. There is the inspection form, and I think most of you guys, again, who are CDL holders are certainly familiar with that form. Again, go through the form, check those items, and again, at the bottom, do not neglect to sign it and date it. Sign it and date it. Make sure that we do that. Now, we talk about repair, And anything that we find that is defective on our inspection list, we need to take the corrective action and again repair any deficiency or defect that we find on that list before that we take that vehicle back out on the roadway, again maintaining that vehicle is in good roadworthy condition. We talk about preventive maintenance. Again, you want to keep your vehicle in a safe manner. Again, maintain all DOT compliance. Again, we are required to do that. When we talk about some of the other items, we talk about the driver inspection. Drivers should do these things before operating the vehicle and sign the report, again showing acknowledgement of review and all required repairs have been made. So let's move on into some defensive driving skills. Stay focused, looking before we back, and even to the point that we may need a spotter. We want to stay alert. And of course, we always want to watch out for the other guy. We talked about road conditions, construction, rain and fog, snow and ice, as you saw in the photograph, and then gravel. Greatly can deal with our traction on those types of roads. After, getting with the other instructors, there are very few roads and highways across the state of Tennessee that are not under construction. So this is pretty common in our state, and I don't see that that's going to change anytime soon. We talk about staying focused, being aware, and again paying special attention to any road conditions, like in this case where snow and ice were very there. We talk about staying alert. Of course, avoiding alcohol and avoiding prescription drugs, and in a lot of cases, over-the-counter medications. I know I have issues with allergies myself, and I have to be very careful when I buy over-the-counter prescriptions that I read the instructions, making sure that it says it will not make me drowsy while operating machinery or a vehicle. So again, I just encourage you, if you are taking over-the-counter medications, make sure that you are reading the instructions before you consume that product. We talk about watching out for, be aware of drivers and roadway users, anticipate others' actions and make the necessary adjustments, even to the point that we may want to slow down even below the posted speed limit for other drivers. We talk about some of the tips. Again, think safety first. Safety has to be our number one priority. Unfortunately, we lose a lot of employees every year to accidents involving vehicle accidents. So we want to think safety first, be aware. Again, we don't want to depend on anybody else for our safety. We also want to have an escape route. We want to keep our speed down and then cut out any distractions. When we think about safety first, avoid aggressive and inattentive drivers, even to the point that we allow those to get in front of us and move on down the highway. Leave plenty of space between you and the other vehicles. Of course, you always want to wear a seatbelt. It is mandatory and law in the state of Tennessee. We want to slow down and again obey all traffic laws. We want to be aware. We're going to scan the road from left to right as we drive. We want to use our mirrors to know what's coming up behind us and on each side of us, and especially in residential areas, be very watchful for pedestrians and bicycles. And again, during the winter months, especially the dark months, as I call them, be aware of animals like deer, because they certainly do cause a great deal of problem during the winter months. We talked about having an escape route. It could even be the shoulder of the highway or another lane of traffic, or possibly a driveway or even a parking lot that gives us an out should we need it. Again, we talk about maintaining safe distance, and as you can see by this graph, and I'm sure most of you may have seen this before. I know we've used some like this before. It gives you a passenger car with the driving at 55 miles an hour, and with a passenger car, the stopping distance is 193 feet. Now, the larger the truck, the heavier the truck, again, you can see that those distances increase greatly. So just be aware of that as we go down the highway. We talk about keeping our speed down. We want to slow down. We want to maintain positive control of our vehicle at all times. We talk about driving deserves our full attention, and it certainly does. As you travel in your own vehicles with your family, so we always want to give it our full attention. We want to avoid any distraction, whether it be a visual distraction or a manual distraction. So we talk about taking our eyes off of the road. A lot of people don't, they'll sightsee as we drive down the highway. Sometimes we kind of overdo it a little bit. When you take your eyes off of the highway, even for a few seconds, a lot can change. Some of the examples of other distractions: texting, smoking, or even grooming can be distractive things that we do. We talk about manual distractions. Texting, reaching across the vehicle. Somebody possibly on a company radio is trying to give you directions, and you're driving and you're trying to write these down. Folks, pull off on the shoulder, stop the vehicle, put it in park, take down whatever directions that you need, and then resume your travel. The safest way to do it, again, safety first. We talk about text messaging, falls into all categories of distractions. As a matter of fact, the United States Department of Transportation says that if we text while we drive, we're at a 23 times greater risk of having an accident than if we were not texting. Again, remember, in the state of Tennessee, all devices have to be hands-free. That is a state mandate. So please don't get caught short on that. Don't get yourself involved in accidents or other mishaps because we are driving distracted. It is simply not worth it. Dealing with chaos, again, if we are involved in an accident, you folks, I think, have probably got a form in the glove box of the vehicle that you drive, and I know a lot of you employees are not in the operations or construction end of the utility, that you may work in the inner workings of the office, support people. Again, even though we may be driving some company vehicles, I know that we have to drive our own vehicles to work and to home. So again, whether we're driving a company vehicle or our own POV, really doesn't make any difference. Dealing with accidents and defensive driving tips always all apply. So keep that in mind. We talk about some of the outcomes of accidents, and you guys already know, because you, like myself, I see a lot of commercials on TV, at the news, or some of the other programs that you watch, and a lot of these law firms, personal injury firms especially, are kind of out there looking for potential lawsuits to be filed. So we really need to do one of our very best jobs that we do, because a lot of us spend a lot of time every day behind the wheel of a vehicle, whether it is a company vehicle or your own personal vehicle. Keep this in mind as you drive, and always remember these defensive driving tips. Again, thank you for your time and your attention, and I look forward to being with you guys in the very near future. Thank you again.